Daily Wire investigative reporter to resign, citing inflammatory statements on transgenderism. I'll give you the quick version. This is Christina Buttons of the Daily Wire announced she was resigning because Matt Walsh was mean. And that due to his inflammatory comments about Dylan Mulvaney, there were people who are good people and not gender ideologues who are trans who are receiving a lot of heat from this and getting attacked. And thus, Christina Buttons' argument is you've got to try and persuade the middle and convince them to come over. Whereas Matt Walsh's argument is you have to humiliate and denounce and belittle your political enemies. This is interesting because I completely understand the argument from Christina Buttons, but I'm going to go ahead and side with Matt Walsh on this one. I've been doing this for too long. I've been in politics my whole life, cultural politics like activism and stuff like that. And I used to work for nonprofits, and I learned a long time ago, this is 13 years ago, man, maybe even longer than that, 14, they're all lying. These people are evil people at these nonprofits, these big NGOs. They claim to be big environmentalists. They're lying to people for money. They will claim that they'll say things like, oh, our poor homeless shelter is filled to the brim with homeless people, and we need money from you so that we can expand. And then you actually go and look, it's completely empty. And they say, well, no one really wants to be here because you can't take drugs when you're in the homeless shelter. So we just tell people that. This is the kind of thing that they pull off.
Plus, you need six-figure salaries for every board member.
Well, I mean, the people at the top are getting paid fat cash, depending on the size of the nonprofit. And so Matt Walsh comes out and says, you know, we've got to be mean to the people who are committing these problems. I don't think anyone's saying be mean to trans people necessarily. I take it as a reference to corrupt individuals who are evil. So previously in the show, we were talking about on the left, you have predominantly evil people who know they're lying and ignorant people or people who lack the ability to better understand, people being taken advantage of more or less. We want to denounce and be mean to those evil people. Otherwise, I see stories like this and it makes me think this is why we lose. Because we just played a video of people ransacking a restaurant in Queens. We just played a video, I played a video this morning of 150 Antifa storming into a government facility, firebombing construction equipment. The left rules by fear and violence, and the right can't even manage to say a naughty word.
You know, I think it's better to not to be mean to evil people, but to control them so that they do what you want them to do. Like their mob mentality. So it's easy to manipulate them. And you're better off being kind and then them trusting you so that you can control them.
Here's the thing. How do you control Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer?
You become friends with her grandson. I don't know. You get through the family. You know, you get to connect them on a familial level.
And like
then they'll listen to you.
Them.
For real. Yeah. That's how you win culture. I mean, let's be honest. You make a song that manipulates people to sing and clap and like, it's all manipulation.
I don't know about that.
I mean, manipulation is not necessarily evil. Manipulation is just moving things around with your hands. It's controlling and manipulating society and people and behaviors and machines and all that stuff.
I think it's a fair point from Ian. We want to manipulate the culture in a positive direction.
That's fine.
Absolutely.
That's fine. But I think some of what you're saying, at least a central theme in my opinion of what you're saying, and the reason this is the way it is because the left, no matter their differences, they always unify hardcore on whatever is their line of effort or their messaging campaign for the week, the month, the year. Conservatives, Republicans, whatever you want to call them, on the other side, don't. We are always a divisive faction. Even when we know what everyone else in our group is saying is correct, for some reason we have a personal petty difference with them, and they go out and launch an even bigger opposition than the radical left does.
Let me show you this story from the New York Post. New York Magazine art critic Jerry Saltz calls for shunning friends and family who vote GOP. So let's compare and contrast the two articles. In one, a reporter for the Daily Wire says, I refuse to work at a place where they're mean, I quit. And then on the other hand, you've got the New York Magazine critic saying, shun your friends and family if they vote in ways that you're opposed to. You see the difference in the culture war here?
Yep.
You know, so when Matt Walsh comes out, and the meanest that Matt Walsh was, we said you are eerie and pitiable and unearthly. You look plastic. I'm like, he didn't cuss. It was just kind of like a slow downward description of an individual. It was insulting, but it wasn't the most insulting thing. He would not win a rap battle by that. Nobody would be shocked, you know, but it was mean, right? Meanwhile, So you've got tons of people who are critical of Matt Walsh, to varying degrees for being mean.
For saying this.
Yeah. Matt Walsh said, you are eerie, you are off-putting. When people look at you, they will see something pitiable and plastic. And it was like, that's how he said it. And that's unacceptable. The right will not accept that. I won't allow that talk is mean. Meanwhile, the left is like, you firebomb a police car and the judge says you're a good dude. That lawyer who firebombed the car, the cop was like, well, I know you're a good person at heart, so we're going to give you a slap on the wrist here.
Yeah. Or if you're a lawyer in the FBI and you're anything but pro-Trump, you can go lie to a federal judge, be convicted as a felon, not go to prison, and get your legal license back.
Who's that? Who are you talking about?
Kevin Kleinsmith.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
He altered the email, right? The evidence on Carter Page.
So yeah, real quick, for those that don't know, the critical email when I was doing the Russiagate investigation was Carter Page is a Russian asset. Sounds really sexy and be like, oh man, we really got to follow this guy. Well, it turns out the FBI knew the entire time that Carter Page was helping the FBI and the CIA productively, not being spied on. And the lawyer at the FBI, Kevin Kleinsmith, literally took a document and changed the verbiage and then gave it to a federal judge saying, I need a warrant. Carter Page is a bad man. But we have all this evidence of him actually helping the United States of America.
Do you guys remember all those stories that we've seen over the past few years where a liberal has announced that they're leaving the left because of Antifa firebombing police vehicles? Tons of Antifa being like, I will not be Antifa. I can't believe they were saying those mean things to those conservatives. Yeah. It happens all the time, right?
Yeah.
Literal terrorists.
I remember that viral video of the Antifa guy. He comes out and he goes, I didn't realize they were going to be firebombing buildings. So the joke, obviously, is that's never going to happen.
It's never going to happen. It's a pipe dream.
There are liberals who are like, I was never really involved, but now that I see what they're doing, I don't want to be involved in that. But you don't typically see, although it happens sometimes, but you don't see a circumstance in which an Antifa guy shows up to an Antifa rally and then leaves saying, I didn't realize they were going to throw Molotov cocktails. They're down for it. They're all down for it.
So what do you think the justification of the reasoning is? Say, I don't know if you saw this, but the Russell Brand clip on Bill Maher. Was it Bill Maher?
Yes.
Whatever it was, where he basically blasted everybody with that idea.
Well, we talked about this a couple times. He's wrong. Russell Brand is completely wrong. I should say completely wrong. It's a little heavy. He's mostly wrong.
What do you mean?
He's partly right. He said MSNBC is like the same as Fox News. They're just as biased. Mm-hmm. NewsGuard rates Fox News as credible, but proceed with caution. Mm-hmm. And they rate MSNBC as crackpot BS.
Okay.
So when you get an independent news agency that's like the New York Times is the bastion of journalism, the Gray Lady, and ABC News and CBS and the Washington Post are 100% certified. And MSNBC is crackpot nonsense, don't trust them, and Fox News is okay.
And it speaks to your point, or it speaks to the broader point that we're making when Russell Brand just saying this is looked at as serious pushback and yet at the same time, when you look at the actual facts like NewsGuard and stuff like that, it's like, well, maybe they aren't the same, but just the pushback that Russell gave is enough for people to be like, yeah, man, he's right, because it's so skewed.
The challenges are, I understand the idea of saying MSNBC is like Fox News, because I've said similar things to friends and family, like if you know somebody who watches MSNBC, use NewsGuard, show them that they say it's fake news conspiracy, and dismiss them as conspiracy theorists, and equate them with what they associate as conspiracy. So I was talking to a friend and they were like, my family only watches MSNBC. I can't talk to them about any of this stuff. And I said, next time you're over there, just say something like, I don't watch this conspiracy stuff. I don't know, you guys, this is weird stuff. Mm-hmm. And then when they say, what do you mean it's news? Be like, wait, the Alex Jones stuff? Like, is that what you're watching? Equate them with what they dislike. They will, so they can understand what you're accusing them of doing. And then when you're like, well, I don't know what he does. Isn't that what he's not on that one? No, look. Then you can pull up NewsGuard and say, see, look, it says you're fake news. You guys, you got to understand this, right? So I understand the argument from Russell, or I should say in favor of Russell's statement, that for people who think Fox News is completely fake garbage nonsense, you're equating what they do with what they view as fake garbage nonsense. Maybe then you can step them in the right direction towards actually watching Fox and realizing, 95% of Fox News is really boring, straightforward news. And the only complaints the left has is like Hannity and Ingram. Well, they really don't like Tucker, for sure. But that's just because he's influential. But it's like the opinion stuff to take issue with. The news reporting at Fox News is news. MSNBC doesn't have news reporting. It's all
I agree with
garbled
you.
garbage
I
nonsense.
completely agree with you.
Yeah.
It's all narrative. It's all exactly what the narrative that the DNC and the left want to put
So-
out. That's what it is.
So I think from an honest perspective, any objective view of Fox News would not equate it with MSNBC.
So that's where he's wrong. I agree with you on that. But the fact that guys like him and Bill Maher are actually going out there and basically taking a sledgehammer to a piece of the radical left-wing agenda for putting out the dumb narratives that they put out, I think is a step in the right direction. Whether they're never going to go all the way because they're not going to come out and say Fox News is the greatest or whatever conservative publication is amazing. But at least they're calling out their own bozos.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.